quick overview of physics for those of you thinking of choosing it as a Leaving Cert subject. I suppose we'll start at the start and maybe define what physics is or give you an idea of what the subject actually is about. All right. Um, as we have here, it's put simply, it's to understand how things work. So you're talking about the smallest things right up to the largest things. You know, things like stars, galaxies, planets, the universe, right down as far as photons of light, the smallest possible things that you might find in terms of atoms and below atoms, so subatomic particles. How would physicists achieve, understanding of things like this? Well, they'd form theories, they'd have ideas trying to explain phenomenon they might see. They'd measure, they'd collect data, and they'd calculate, and they'd experiment. They would carry out experiments to see if their theories are correct. Okay, so what has it done? Well, I suppose in the past, it's answered questions like these. Why is the sky blue? How long will the sun keep shining? What is matter? What's the stuff around us actually made from? When did the universe begin? How did it begin? When will it end? Things like that, essentially. Okay. Um, Technologies. It's been responsible for developing technologies now. You can have a look here. You can see the kinds of things we're talking about. So cars, all forms of transportation, electric cars, space shuttle, space exploration, and building large structures like these require an understanding and a knowledge of physics. So you can see the bridge up there, the Large Hadron Collider in CERN, discovering the fundamentals of our universe, how it was created. Okay, technology like televisions, mobile phones, any sort of technology, anything that has an electric current flowing through it or has a moving part and you plug it in or use a battery, an understanding of physics is required. Right down to simple devices like the light bulb. I mean, it may be simple, but think of everywhere in the world you go, you will find some form of a light bulb. Computer games, computer software, um, the kind of physics that operate in these games would require a physicist as well to program it in to make the movement of objects look realistic, as well as doing the programming itself. Energy generation, there's a very, very large solar power station, all right? It reflects the sun's rays to a central point at the top here and boils water to a very high temperature and generates electricity. This is a fusion reactor over here, all the way to things like robotic dogs. I could keep going, but we just don't have that much time. Okay, all right. So why should you study it? Why would you decide to study physics? Well, you should probably decide to study physics if you are a naturally curious and inquisitive person and you want to understand how things work. You'll also probably think or should consider physics if you want to study a subject that'll open doors for you later in life. Okay? So it's something that employers want to see. And if you're prepared to put time and effort into it, it'll help you get a job, as it helps you develop critical thinking skills, problem solving skills. Employers love to see it, assuming you put the time and effort into it and done well at it. All right. Now, what kind of jobs might we be talking about? Well, I suppose that you could feel a montage coming on here as well. All kinds of jobs, all right? This is just a selection of different ones that might be relevant, but there are a whole hell of a lot of other ones as well. Any kinds of engineers, all right? So any and all kinds of engineering, you will probably be studying physics in your engineering degree if you decide to do it. So it's a good basis for that. A lot of stuff in the medical field, you wouldn't think of it, but medical physics involves devices that you need a really good understanding of physics to be able to work with, calibrate, fix, in some cases sell to the hospitals and the doctors as well. Anything in IT. So if you're interested in IT consultancy, programming, software engineering, network systems, that kind of thing, then physics is going to be very useful. Aviation, sometimes people don't think about that, but a pilot needs to be very, very, let's say, up to date and good in terms of their physics skills in order to do that job. Anything in financial services. Okay, if you can do physics, you will be interesting to an employer. All right, so an actuary, a financial analyst, anything like that. Um, there's an astronaut over here, so I suppose it would be a massive advantage to you if you're interested in anything like that as well. An astronomer, so a person that, you know, collects data from out there, tries to understand stars, galaxies, things like that. You might find yourself working in far-flung places and observatories. You might decide to go into research and become a famous scientist. You might decide to go into academia and become a lecturer or professor of some sort. If you're crazy enough, you might want to become a teacher as well. Who knows? All right. Okay. Now, what type of student is it going to suit? So, what sort of person should be thinking about studying physics? Well, it'll probably be a good fit for you if you do have an interest in science at junior cert and you do enjoy learning how things work. All right, similar to what we were saying before. It'll also should be a good fit for you if you don't expect everything handed to you and you are willing to ask questions, get involved, and you're prepared to work a little to understand the answers as well. Okay, sometimes things don't come easy. You have to put effort into it. On a more basic level, if you're capable of drawing a graph accurately, interpret it correctly, and you'll know at this point if you are or not, all right? And you'll know if you can put in the effort to get there. If you're competent with a calculator and you're willing to do basic maths, that would be a good thing as well, okay? If you're interested in any of these types of careers, as we've gone through there, so electrician, optician, dentist, engineer, computer, I could keep going on, okay? We had the montage there earlier. And I suppose, lastly, but like it's important from my point of view, you're willing to put your time and attention to detail into the subject when you're outside of the class as well as when you're inside it. So you have to put a bit of time into it. And I suppose I should say to you at this point, anything, okay, that's worth doing, or most things that are worth doing, require time and effort. All right. So you get out of things what you're willing to put into them. Okay. All right. Um, the main question I tend to get asked a lot by people considering physics is it a difficult subject? Is it hard? Okay. So is it? Let's have a quick look. What was my answer? My general answer to that is yes, it is. Okay. So, like every other subject or thing worth doing, you will have to make an effort at it. And you need to make the effort the minute you start fifth year and consistently. You need to be consistently doing a little bit all the time rather than trying to put in a huge effort near the end or near an exam itself. All right. So, if that doesn't seem like you, then physics, you'll probably do okay, but it won't be a magnificent outcome for you if you're not willing to put in consistent effort. Okay. Little and often is what's necessary. Right. Um, so if it doesn't sound like you, I suppose the corollary to that is if it doesn't sound like you, if putting time and effort into a subject does not sound something that you're going to be interested in, then you probably shouldn't pick physics. But you should realize that every other subject out there at Leaving Cert level is difficult. It's what you call hard as well, and that goes for them all. All right. So if you naturally gravitate towards this one, don't let that put you off because every subject is difficult. Every subject requires you to put time and effort into it. Okay. You might not think it because you like a certain area and it might not seem like you're putting as much effort into it. But if you count up the hours and you count up the effort, you are. Okay. For every subject. It's just with this one, if you're the kind of person I've described, you will probably find this to be a subject that you will enjoy. You'll still have to put the effort into it though. Okay. So in summary, this is what it's about. Okay. It helps you understand the world around you. It helps you satisfy curiosity if you have it. It will help you develop critical thinking and problem solving skills. And that means, of course, that you're going to be very, very attractive to an employer. Okay. So physicists are usually versatile and there's usually a wide range of future careers a qualification in physics opens up. All right. It's a global thing as well, I suppose. Physics has no borders really. Okay. So it will give you the opportunity to work abroad if that's your thing. It'll give you the opportunity to work in Ireland too. And I suppose finally, if you're the kind of person that likes technology, and you like kind of new advances in science and technology, then it's a subject for you. So it drives technological advances, and that impacts society, the environment, and the economy. Okay.